All right, ready when you are. All right, we're going to get started here. Good evening. Being 7 p.m., I'll call to order the McHenry County Board regular meeting of January 21st, 2025, and Ms. Van Hoff will lead us in the pledge today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And for our invocation this evening, we have Pastor Stephen Glab from Resurrection Church in Woodstock.
Thank you. Almighty and ever-living God, as we gather this evening, we look to you for wisdom and guidance in our efforts to serve the community of McHenry County. We ask you to purify our hearts and enlighten our minds, that we may exercise our offices with sincere motivations and informed perspectives. Make us true servants of your people, attentive to their needs and conscious of their expectations in making our county a place where its citizens can live in tranquility and peace. As we come together on this frigid night, do not allow us to become indifferent to the members of our community who remain most vulnerable in our midst: the sick, the elderly, the homeless, the stranger, and those who are the victims of abuse and cruelty at the hands of others. May our concern for the welfare of our community at large never cause us to neglect our responsibility for the care of the marginalized, the disabled, and the disadvantaged. We look to you, source of grace and mercy, for your abundant blessing as we strive diligently to be faithful to our mission. May our labors this evening be worthy of your glory and the trust given to us by the McHenry County community. Amen.
Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Altoff. Campbell. Here. Collins. Here. Gadamuller. Here. Greeno. Here. Hendricks. Here. Kaminsky.
Present.
Kearns.
Here.
Krieger.
Here.
Kunkel.
Here.
Sager.
Here.
Shorten.
Here.
Scala.
Present.
Smith.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Van Hoff.
Present.
Von Bergen.
Here.
We have 17 present, Chair.
Okay, having a quorum, we'll proceed. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Mr. Scala makes the motion. Mr. Sager seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of previous meetings. Mr. Gadamuller makes the motion. Mr. Kearns seconds. Any changes or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Good evening and welcome back after yesterday's holiday to honor Martin Luther King Jr. as his legacy as a civil rights champion who changed the world through nonviolence. Yesterday was also the presidential inauguration. We are blessed to live in a nation that embraces the peaceful and orderly transition of power, and I look forward to working with this new administration to get great things done for McHenry County. Later this month, McHenry County will be getting visits from 2 Illinois congressmen. On Wednesday, January 29th, Representative Bill Foster will be coming to visit with the McHenry County Economic Development Corporation at their new home at the McHenry County College. The day after, on Thursday, January 30th, I will be joining Sheriff Rob Tatelman in giving Representative Darren LaHood a tour of the Sheriff's Office Regional Training Center and Firearms Range. It's my hope that we can secure federal funding to assist in making the training center the new home for our groundbreaking police social work program as well. I look forward to both of their visits and our opportunity to show off our achievements in public safety and economic development. I would like to take the time to personally thank County Administrator Peter Austin and Chief Financial Officer Carrie Wise for their presentation at last Thursday's Committee of the Whole meeting regarding the county's mental health retail sales tax approved last year by voter referendum. It was comprehensive and informative and dispelled the misconceptions that have arisen regarding the funding of our social service agencies that faithfully serve people facing mental and developmental health challenges. And that concludes my report tonight. Do any members have comments tonight? Ms. Campbell?
Yes, I just wanted to say, yesterday Faith Bridge held its annual interfaith prayer breakfast in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. It was a time for people from all denominations and beliefs to come together to reflect upon Dr. King's legacy and celebrate the accomplishments in the fight against injustice on behalf of all people. It was recognized that there is much to be grateful for, and those in attendance were called upon to continue their own work on creating positive changes in our communities. It was a wonderful, uplifting event, and I would encourage any other members to join in next year if you are able. Thank you.
Any other member comments? Seeing none, move on to zoning petitions. Do any members have items they'd like removed from the zoning consent agenda? Mr. Shorten?
10.A.2.
Okay. Any others? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the zoning consent agenda, less item 10A2. Mr. Smith makes the motion. Mr. Gottemoller seconds. Clerk, could you open the voting, please? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve item 10A2. Mr. Scala makes the motion. Mr. Gottemoller seconds. Discussion, Mr. Shorten?
Sorry, I will defer to my comments at the cow.
Okay. Any other comments? Seeing none, clerk, could you open the voting, please? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. Next, we have public comment. Just a brief reminder that public comment is your opportunity to address the board. You'll have 3 minutes in which to do so, at which time the light will come, the red light will come on in front of me. And if you have not completed your comments at that time, I would ask you to summarize so we can move on. We do have quite a few comments here tonight, so if somebody has mentioned an item that you wanted to speak about, you may consider not repeating that. First we have is Ryan McGrath, followed by Lori Cisneros.
Hi, good evening, board members. My name is Ryan McGrath, and my family and I live at 8018 Maple Street, directly across the street from the proposed concrete plant. I'm here with my neighbors to address the standards of the petition and why we believe they have not been met. Before I begin, I'd like to ask any supporters in attendance to please stand and be recognized. Additionally, there are many others who share our concerns but could not attend today due to various commitments. On Thursday, you heard Kathy Bauman present the history of conditional use permit from 2003 to present. Today, I'd like to focus on how our community has grown and evolved during that time. In 2003, when the original CUP was approved, Maple Street was primarily a state-zoned lots, stretching from West Coral to what is now Demings Road. Maple Shores subdivision and Riley Creek were still in their infancy. Today, this area is home to more than 120 residential lots within less than 1 square mile, surrounded by agricultural land. Over the past 20 years, the area has clearly shifted towards a more residential focus. In fact, my own home was not built until 2004. We moved there in 2016 after immediately falling in love with it on first sight. We love the quiet country community that we've become a part of. Approving this proposal would significantly impact our community's character, people's everyday lives, and our environment. These effects cannot be ignored. This great neighborhood will turn into an industrial corridor. Some of my neighbors will be coming forward to elaborate more on some of the reasons we believe this concrete plant will negatively affect our community and our way of life. We urge you to consider the voices of the growing residential community as you deliberate. Thank you for your time and considering the concerns of the people that call this community home.
Lori Cisneros, followed by Jackie Mitzfeld.
Lori Cisneros, 9908 Harmony Hill Road, Marengo. Chairman Bueller, County Board members, I'd like to briefly address standards 2 and 3 concerning petition 2023-051. Standard 2 asked, is a conditional use compatible with the existing or planned future development of the area? The petitioner states, quote, the CUP is compatible with the existing earth extract operations adjacent to the premises and is consistent with the 2030 land use plan, unquote. We disagree. This is not the same community it was 20 plus years ago. The land to the north and south is agricultural. The land to the east is residential estate with over 120 contiguous home sites. Only the western edge of this property is adjacent to earth extraction operations as well as 2 other businesses. The 2030 future land use map in the staff report on page 19 designates the uses of the surrounding properties as agricultural and estate. It's also important to recognize that the Route 23 corridor is identified industrial and that all earth extraction operations in our area, including the 2 that touch the western border, have frontage on Route 23. Route 23 is an appropriate location for this type of venture, not Maple Street. Approval of this petition will allow for an entering wedge of an incompatible use that sets a precedent for future requests. This is a copy of the 2030 land use map submitted by staff. The top diagram shows the land designation for the area and the bottom the SARA. I'd like to read the text analysis at the bottom. Quote, agricultural represents existing agricultural acres, including cropland, pasture land, farmlands, and farmsteads that should remain in agricultural use through the 2030 planning horizon. Development in this agricultural district should strictly be limited to agriculture, agricultural residences, and agricultural support uses, page 134. It's followed by text regarding the SARA that relates to Standard 3, which addresses the public health and general welfare of our neighboring vicinity. It states, quote, a portion of this site is located in a zone with high aquifer contamination potential, end quote. According to the Soil and Water Conservation District report, that portion makes up 96.29 acres of that parcel. Make no mistake, allowing these types of uses on sensitive recharge areas will be detrimental to the public health and welfare, not only of the neighboring vicinity, but for all McHenry County residents that rely on these aquifers, that will rely on these aquifers in the not too distant future. It's for these reasons we believe standards 2 and 3 have not been met. We respectfully request you deny this request. Thank you.
Jackie Mitzfeld, followed by Teresa Carriazes. Thank you for the phonetic help.
My name is Jacqueline Mitzelfeld. I live at 20718 West Coral Road in Marengo. My family has been a part of this Riley and Marengo community since the 1950s. Like many of our neighbors, we are farmers, homesteaders, and blue-collar workers. I'm here today to speak out against petition 2023-051, which proposes a mining and concrete operation in our area. The petitioner has claimed that this project will not harm public health or safety. We strongly disagree. This proposed concrete production relies on silicate, which is classified as a carcinogen. This dust will travel long distance, coating our homes, cars, crops, and farmland. One ZBA board member even said he avoids driving down Route 23 because of the dust from the nearby concrete plant. If that dust can travel that far, imagine what it will do to the air that we breathe and the land that we rely on. Our community is built on agriculture, and for us, this dust poses a direct threat to our bees, which are essential to our farm. We maintain honeybee hives, and like other local farmers, we depend on these pollinators for our crops. Honeybees forage within a 3-mile radius, and silicate dust is known to cause hive collapse. Silica particles, which are much smaller than sand, are dangerous not only to humans, but to pollinators like honeybees. Silica dust dries out their protective wax layer, causing severe dehydration and impairing their ability to forage and develop. But the danger goes beyond our bees. We also raise livestock, chickens, and have plans to bring cattle back to our property this year. Silica dust can cause severe respiratory issues in animals, including silicosis and cancer. Our animals are not our pets. They are a vital part of our livelihood and our farm. The food they provide doesn't just feed our family, it feeds our community. If this dust is allowed to settle on our farms, it will directly affect the health of our animals and the future of our food supply. Most disturbing, however, is the risk to the people in the community. My family is no different than others who live here. We moved to this rural area to give our 4 children a healthy, safe environment. But my 3-year-old has been diagnosed with several brain growths. As a mother, I would do anything to protect her. But how can I protect her from the air that she breathes? Silica dust is dangerous to everyone, especially our children and elders, and the thought of it contaminating our air is terrifying. My husband works as a 150 operator, handling concrete daily. He comes home many nights coughing and blowing his nose, black concrete particles coming out. This is a problem for every family in our community, not just mine. Silica dust is harmful to the health of all of us. This proposed concrete plant will have far-reaching consequences. The dust will not only harm our land and animals, but will directly affect the health of our people in this community, especially the children, elders, and already sick. Approval standard number 3, which asks whether the project will endanger public health, safety, and welfare, cannot be met for my family and many others in the community here.
If you could summarize your comments, please.
We ask that you deny petition 202305 because of the damage to our community that cannot be undone.
Teresa, followed by Tony Carriazes.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Teresa Carriazes. I live at 20506 Delks Drive in Marengo. I'm here to address petition 2023-51. Approval standard number 4. Will the conditional use be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the area? The petitioners responded, no, for the same reason stated above, which Lori Cisneros quoted earlier. Let me speak plainly about what we're facing. The proposed operation would typically run from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, but could start as early as 5 a.m., 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays and Sundays, with gravel and concrete trucks passing every 6 minutes. This isn't just about occasional noise disturbance. It's about constant injurious noise that will fundamentally change our lives. The sound of crushers, reversing machines, heavy equipment, and concrete trucks being filled and then washed 7 days a week will make it impossible to find peace even inside our homes. This noise would strip away the very reason this residential community chose to live here. The petitioner did provide a noise study, Exhibit 3, noise study. On page 7 of that study, regarding Table 2, Dr. Thunder, quote, he states, quote, we consider noise to be injurious for moderate or substantial impacts. That is, levels at 7 dB above the ambient or greater, end quote. Table 3 shows Dr. Thunder's receivers recorded levels of both 8 dB and 7 dB. Injurious noise to the people. As a ZBA board member stated, the petitioner's own testimony was injurious. McHenry County's noise ordinance, section 9.16.040, defines noise as a sound that is harsh, prolonged, causing unreasonable discomfort within the neighborhood from which the noise emanates, or as to unreasonably interfere with the peace and comfort of neighbors, their guests, or their customers. Under 9.16050, nuisance noise, point B, determination factors number 2, the land use, nature, or zoning of the area from which the sound emanates, demonstrating that the petitioner's land use request backed by their noise expert would be injurious and prohibited under approval standard number 4 and the nuisance noise ordinance of McHenry County. We, the residents, agree with the ZBA board members that the noise will be injurious to us, and batch concrete plants are very loud. Therefore, we respectfully request that petition 2023-051 be denied. If this CUP is approved, the damage to our community could never be undone. Thank you for your time.
Tony Carriazes, followed by Beth McKinney.
Good evening. My name is Tony Kiriazis. I live at 20506 Delks regarding petition 2023-051. Standard 5 asks, will the conditional use substantially diminish or impair property values in the area? Absolutely. I've been a realtor for over 32 years, and it doesn't take a certified appraiser to know the answer to this. Let's say you're looking at a $700,000 home, and you find two identical homes. One's next to a concrete plant or a gravel pit, the other one is not. Which home would you choose? How low would that property have to get for you to live in this industrial zone? 650,000, 600,000, 500,000 tempt you maybe? That kind of loss screams substantially diminished. I reviewed over a dozen studies, and they all point to a 10 to 30% reduction in property values when homes are located within a half a mile of concrete plants or gravel mines. In 2018, a Chicago Department of Housing study found that homes within a quarter to a half a mile of these plants lost 10 to 30% of their value. A 2019 report from South Suburban Cook County showed a 15 to 25% drop in properties near batch plants. One surprising study from Kankakee County found that even agricultural land near an active sand mine saw a 10 to 20% reduction in value compared to similar farmland further from the pit. Research from the universities of California, Houston, Portland regarding concrete plants and gravel mines all saw losses ranging from 10 to 30%. The factors behind these declines were air pollution, truck traffic, noise, and the stigma of living near a noxious use facility. There are 14 homes directly across the small street from this property. Using the conservative 25% figure, these families would collectively lose about $1.75 million. Maple Lakeshore Estates could collectively lose, that's another place, $2 million. My own home, about $125,000. That is substantial diminishment. These are families like yours, who rely on the equity in their homes for things like college tuition, elder care, starting businesses, and retirement. This is not my opinion, but facts supported by actual studies. The county, in their wisdom, allows for concrete plants in parcels that are zoned I-2. They also carefully crafted buffers between these industrial zones and residential zones. This property is one of those buffer zones. So in conclusion, you can choose to protect our property values and quality of life in our residential area, or you can allow it to become another industrial blight. I urge you to vote no on this petition. Thank you.
Beth McKinney, followed by Dwight McKinney.
Good evening. My name is Beth McKinney, and I live at 20307 West Coral Road. I'm here to speak on petition 2023051. In the approval standards for conditional use, number 10 states that adequate measure will be taken to provide protection to groundwater recharge and groundwater quality. We disagree. During the original ZBA meeting, the petitioner stated that the concrete batch plant would use 3,000 gallons of water per day, which is 936,000 gallons annually. Based on my research through the National Ready Mix Concrete Association, Carbon Cure Technologies, and Cartaway Concrete Systems, we disagree with this estimate. For cleaning alone, the average truck uses 30 to 800 gallons of water per day. The average cited in a survey conducted by Cartaway Concrete Systems for cement drivers in the US and Canada is 226 gallons per day. In order to make the concrete, each truck also uses an additional 300 to 600 gallons of water. Combining water used for both making cement and cleaning, the per day usage would be between 10,000 to 78,000 gallons per day. This translates into 6.3 million to 24 million gallons of water per year for 6 days of use. This is a 581 to 2,506% increase over the estimate given by the petitioner. Our arsenic levels have already risen in the past 15 years, and there is a real danger of water contamination that comes from toxic metals washed out of cement trucks during cleaning. In addition, the proposed ready-mix plant would put an enormous drain on the sensitive aquifer resources. This aquifer belongs to all of McHenry County. As you know, the east side of the county is experiencing a drawdown in their water table and will eventually need water. This vital life resource could be used to help supply the water to the residents of eastern McHenry. The 2023-051 land use petition is not vital when compared to the need for water for residents of our county. For these reasons, I would like to respectfully recommend that the board decline petition number 2023-051 in order to preserve and protect the water needs and water health for our community and county. Thank you.
Dwight McKinney, followed by Eric Siebert.
Hi, Dwight McKinney, 2037 West Coral Road. And thank you for hearing us this evening. I'm concerned about petition number 2023-051. Arsenic, as we all know, is a poison. It is naturally occurring in rock layers of soil. However, there are certain activities that increase the flow of arsenic from rock that is naturally in the groundwater. According to the EPA, 10 parts per billion of arsenic is the standard allowed for drinking water. According to the Stanford report, dated June 5, 2018, overpumping of water from an aquifer can cause levels of arsenic to rise dramatically. Research published in the journal Nature Communications shows overpumping allows arsenic to move into groundwater. Further mining activities, as allowed in the current conditional use permit, disturb the soils, crush the rock, and cause the intrinsic arsenic to be released where rainwater dissolves it and brings it down into this sensitive recharge aquifer. According to the United States Geological Survey, water monitoring from well number 14 RILS, located off Harmony Road just west of I-90, the arsenic levels as of October 12, 2010, was 0.26 parts per billion. The recent test by one of our neighbors shows it to be about 28 times higher than that. This causes one to ask why the increase. Is the current mining activities along Route 23, or is it washing out of cement trucks at the cement plants along Route 23? Page 3 of the McHenry and Lake County SWCD says this is a very sensitive area for groundwater contamination. Concrete trucks are typically washed out at the plant after returning from a job. This washout is actually toxic. According to the EPA, this washout is also caustic and corrosive, having a pH of 12, where Drano liquid cleaner has a pH of 13.5. Rainwater percolates through the soil where this washout is occurring, dragging the contamination down with it all the way to the aquifer. Further, the EPA has a set of best practices that should be followed. Their preference is for it to be done where water goes through a municipal wastewater treatment plant. Is any of this being done at the existing facilities along Route 23? Would an additional plant only make the situation worse? Is there any testing being required of the current mining and cement production along Route 23? If so, how often is it done? Where can the results be found? It would be interesting to see how these levels have changed in the last 50 years. When it comes to a question of public safety, we need to move slowly and carefully, studying what results the activity would cause.
You could summarize your comments, please.
Possibly, we even need to visit what is happening at the current operations. If water is of grave concern in the eastern part of the county, don't we need to protect it in all the county?
Eric Siebert, followed by Ingrid Sandoval. Okay. Kyle Anderson. Daniel Streit.
Daniel Streit, 20306 Demings Drive, Marengo. As a building official for over 20 years within the county, serving many municipalities, My colleagues and I, residents, have brought many valid concerns, and we thank you for your consideration. It is the responsibility of the county board to ensure the public health and welfare of the residents. In fact, it is a responsibility as highlighted in the very first condition within this use, SEC 150301, which explicitly states that the board's very first obligation is to ensure that the proposed use will not be determined to be, detrimental to public health, safety, comfort, or the general welfare, nor substantially diminish or impair the value of property. A concrete batch's number one source of emissions is fine particle matter. This pollutant is termed as PM 2.5 and has long been established as having negative health effects of populations that are regularly exposed to breathing it in. This is not a dust. This is, however, 1/20th in size of a diameter of a human hair, and it can only be seen with a microscope. But just because you can't see it does not mean that it's harmful breathing it in. Many reputable sources agree that even short-term exposure to PM 2.5 correlates to serious adverse health effects. And if you were to cite all these conditions, it would take my 3 minutes. But the construction and operation of this proposed plant would be not short-term increases in this emission. Instead, for those of us living near the plant, including children attending Riley School, which is approximately 2 miles away, we would experience chronic exposure. Those who live near the emission source are the most vulnerable to these risks. According to the demographic reports, approximately 500 people live within 1 mile of the proposed location, and that number increases to 12,000 when you look at the overall living within 5 miles. In both cases, almost 50% of the population meets the criteria of high risk, including infants, children, and teens, and those over 65 of age. The EPA has even updated the national ambient air quality standards to decrease the public standard to 9.0 micrograms per cubic meter of this harmful pollutant. That is the maximum level of background concentration of the pollutant that can be in the air that we can breathe in before scientific evidence has shown it to be hazardous to human health. In March of 2024, Marengo has had an average, or its documented average, background ambient concentrate of 8.93 micrograms per cubic meter. That is less than 1/10 of the maximum level. It is unreasonable to assume that this industrial manufacturing of a concrete plant will not increase this value. Additionally, the applicant has failed to meet the conditions of this previous use, and therefore the board has a duty to to deny the request of the addition, as well as of the addition of the concrete plant, as well as the mining operation. And approving such application would be setting a precedent. As I said, I haven't been a building official for over 2 decades within this, within the community and within the county, and I have never seen anything positive come out of a mining and a concrete operation plant. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment for this evening. New and unfinished business. I'll entertain a motion to approve the appointment of alternates to the Board of Review members. Mr. Scala makes a motion. Mr. Shorten seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none. Clerk, could you open the voting, please? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. Next, under appointments, I'll entertain a motion to approve the appointments to the Marengo Rescue Squad, Historic Preservation Commission, Zoning Board of Appeals, Hebron Drainage District, and Senior Services Grant Commission. Ms. Greeno makes the motion. Mr. Kern seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none. Clerk, could you open the voting, please? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. Do any standing committee chairs or liaisons have reports for us tonight? Ms. Greeno?
Yes. The Workforce County, the McHenry County Workforce Network Board met last Wednesday morning at 7:30, and they approved 3 integrated career academic preparation systems known as ICAPS programs in the areas of administrative office skills, a certificate, basic nursing assistant certificate, entrepreneurship certificate programs at McHenry County colleges. These programs allow individuals who are currently active in the GED program at MCC to dual enroll in these ICAPS programs to be earning their GED and a certificate at the same time. This is an excellent program that we have. The latest issue of the Workforce Action was released recently, and this newsletter reports thoroughly on the services that are provided by McHenry County Workforce Network, which are plentiful. The upcoming manufacturer job fair is Wednesday, January 19th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at McHenry County College. And this Saturday from 8:30 to 1 is the People in Need Forum at McHenry County College. So that is from that committee. Also, today the Ethics Commission met and concluded their review of the ethics ordinance, which is absolutely fascinating, and they are recommending several changes to which will be forwarded to the Administrative Services Committee for their further review and consideration. The Ethics Commission also selected Shelley Spada to remain as chair and William Koenig as the vice chair. The next meeting will be Thursday, May 1st at 2 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Campbell?
Yes, this is regarding the Emergency Management Agency. So as Mr. Austin mentioned last week, our Emergency Management Agency held a training for senior officials this month, at which they provided an overview of the National Incident Management System. This system provides the principles and structure for the management of incidents, both natural and human caused. A shout out to Director Christensen and Chief Director Lloyd for this very informative presentation, which also generated good discussion on how incident systems are activated at the local level. It gave a very good overview for our public officials about what to expect. And these structures are standard throughout the country. So as we have help from other agencies or our members go and help other localities, they are operating within the same system. They will continue to offer training, so if you've missed this one, there'll be other opportunities going forward. We have another meeting that is coming up. This is going to be held Thursday, January 29 at 1 p.m. Our McHenry Emergency Management Agency has been working with Illinois EMA regarding the challenges that they've been facing to hazard mitigation funding requests. Specifically, there has been a difference between what FEMA has intended and IEMA practices, what's happening at the state level. We're going to have both federal and state representatives available on hand to work through these challenges to strengthen these funding requests to make sure that they go through. They will also help identify other funding sources that might be more appropriate for certain requests. This is going to be held, a lot of times we hold our training down at the Regional Training Center in Cary. This is going to be held at our EOC, Emergency Operations Center, which is 2200 North Seminary. That is in the courthouse. You've got to wind your way downstairs. And so if you need any more information, please reach out to me or Director Christensen. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kearns?
Thursday, January 3rd, 8:30 is our Stormwater Management Commission meeting.
February 3rd?
January. The 3rd. I said 23rd, didn't I? Said the 3rd. 23rd, sorry. You're late if you didn't come to that first one. But yeah, the 23rd, and we're going to be talking about elections, the Wetland Restoration Fund. There'll be several things, talking about the proposed amendments to the UDO, or not UDO, the Stormwater Ordinance, and some watershed planning updates. So I want everybody to, the new members who are on that commission, that would be a good education to catch you up on everything that's going to happen this year. Thanks.
Okay, we'll move on to the routine consent agenda. Do any members have items they'd like removed from the routine consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the routine consent agenda. Mr. Gottemeller makes the motion. Ms. Campbell seconds. Clerk, could you open the voting, please? Voting is open. Have all voted who wish? Motion carries. Pete, you got a report for us tonight?
Hey, first, I want to be the first to congratulate Joe. He just got a new 6-year term as a county engineer, so glad to have you here, Joe. I'm not making light of it. Joe is just really, you all know, has made a tremendous 20-year impact now on the Division of Transportation and made it a leader in the state. So congratulations, Joe. And thank you. Also, it's my pleasure to introduce Laura Scarry. Laura, wave. Laura's joined the state's attorney's office just a few weeks ago from a private practice, but Laura has been selected by Randy Freeze to be the new chief of the civil division in about 2 more months when Norm steps down. So when he fades out into retirement, Laura's going to be in charge of keeping us out of trouble and guiding us from our legal perspective. So we're looking forward to working with Laura on that. Then finally, I'll just mention, because Pam is not here tonight, that the Law and Government Committee scheduled for next Monday, next Tuesday, the 28th, has been pushed back a week. So we're going to do that on Tuesday, the 4th, and it's going to be immediately following PED committee. So around about 10 o'clock, we'll have Law and Government. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Sager?
Yes, Chairman, I'd like to request an opportunity for member privilege.
Sure.
Thank you very much. I know that it's not customary for this body or members to make any commentary relative to some public comments. However, with indulgence, I first want to ask you not to interpret my comments right now to project or to communicate my particular vote on the reference zoning petition. And having provided that kind of caveat, I do want to thank the members of the public who are here tonight and who did make public comment. First, I know that it's a difficult thing to do frequently for members of the public to stand up before a public body and to make comments, and so your willingness to become engaged in the public dialogue and to do so tonight is much appreciated. The second thing is for the representation that you all have done, which communicated the research that you committed yourselves to and your capacity to be able to translate that into your justification for your position. And so I'm grateful for that. And finally, I just want to indicate that it's very obvious that you all have worked together as a community to identify how you are going to present tonight. And I think you did so in a very effective manner to express your individual and collective opposition. So I want to commend and to thank you for that. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Scala makes the motion. Mr. Kaminsky seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. Against, motion carries. Have a good night.